Hello and welcome to CEAZOR Snack Sandwich. Today we're taking a look at GearBox. This is some pretty crazy stuff. It's pretty cool. I really like this idea. It's pretty innovative and new and smart, and let's talk about it, okay? It's a way to leverage up some of your positions, and it says here on, SushiSwap or Yearn and several like whitelisted protocols that are allowed to be used with this GearBox protocol. Now, it works in a pretty special way. There are two kinds of users, okay? There are lenders and there are borrowers. So let's talk about the lenders first. The lenders are basically people who come and they just supply these tokens as a form of lending, right? So you can lend out your DAI, you can lend out your USDC and these tokens here and get a small APY. Now, this APY is based on utilization. So as more and more people borrow this USDC, there's like 2 million in here. And as more and more people borrow this, then your APY will go up. And as less and less people borrow, then your APY goes down, okay? Now, when you supply liquidity to these positions, then you get one of these D tokens. They call them diesel tokens. And I guess these are like ERC20 tokens that will end up in your wallet. And perhaps we'll have some, DeFi use case in the future, like maybe a curve pool or some other way to get some other yield with these diesel tokens, okay? So that's the first user. The first user is just a lender who's going to lend some of his liquidity to people who want to leverage up. Then we have the borrowers. The borrowers are the people who want to actually do some leverage. So what they would do is they would come to the top here. Instead of putting earn, they would go to credit, they click it. Now let's say they would choose which one of these, like they call them vaults or something. I don't remember what they're calling them, or accounts. They're calling them accounts, okay, credit accounts. Now, if you want to open one, they're all isolated, so they're individual. If you get liquidated in one, you won't get liquidated in the other, and so forth. And, if one gets hacked, the other one won't get hacked in that sense. And anyways, you get the idea. So you open this up and you just decide like, how much USDC you want to put, like maybe, 10,000, and how much you want to borrow on top of that. Now, what makes this special is there's a couple things that make this special. Is this money sits inside this smart contract. It doesn't end up inside your MetaMask wallet. So right now I have this MetaMask wallet connected, right? And if I make this, then I put my 10,000 USDC into the smart contract, and the smart contract borrows 40,000 from the pool inside here. Now, another good thing about this is this smart contract is not very gas expensive, because these vaults are already deployed on the blockchain. So it's just a matter of just borrowing this credit account from the pool of credit accounts that are currently there. And so it's a little bit cheaper on gas. It's still going to cost you gas. You're still going to have to send the USDC in here, but you will end up with $50,000 worth of USDC inside your credit account that you can use for other things. So now, once you go through the steps, there will be a button here. You click OK, you pay your gas, and you'll end up with something that looks like this over here. Now, this is the only place I've been able to find where you can see your borrow rate. Now, it says 5% here. This is a still image, so things are not changing. But I assume that this number is not accurate all the time. It won't be, right? It'll be based on utilization. So this looks like something maybe for a testnet or something, right? Because there is this faucet here for the testnet. So this is the only place you're going to be able to see how much your interest is on your debt. So this is the number you're going to want to make sure you beat in some ways, okay? Now, it's too bad that it doesn't say here the current rates, and I'm not able to find anywhere where it says the current borrow rates quite yet. So I guess maybe they will work on this and add this feature in the future. So anyway, so if you do open this credit account, and you will end up with something like this over here, and then you will know, okay, I have 500 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 or however much I have inside there, right? So remember, it's inside that contract. So there is a swap button here that you could click, and then you could just swap the tokens for other tokens, right? Now, there are several strategies that you can try to run while you're in here. So there's farming short, farming long, and then arbitrage of collateral assets. And then there's one more that I'm going to talk about a little bit. So basically, you can short tokens. Let's say you wanted to short ETH, then you would come to like the credit accounts here, you would open a ETH account, right? And then you would take all the ETH you have and you would sell it for USDC, and then hopefully it would go down in value, and then you would buy the USDC back, or buy the ETH back and pay off your debt when you felt that that short was a good time to do so, right? Now, the cool thing about that is you can put that USDC to work in other protocols. It doesn't sit there just waiting for your time to close your position, right? And then there's the long, which would be the opposite, right? You supply DAI, or you supply USDC, and then you use that, you borrow more USDC and use that to buy some Ethereum, let's say, if you want to do long Ethereum. And then when it goes up in value, then you sell it for USDC and you pay off your credit account, right? And again, you could then put that ETH to some, yield farming opportunities if you know of some, right? Now, there are some other things we should talk about before I show you some of these yield farming opportunities that I've got up here. So there is liquidations, of course, right? There has to be liquidations. And, you would basically just watch your health factor, and if this goes to very close to 1, then you're going to get liquidated, right? However, there is some interesting things here. They have some, where are these protocol fees? So they have these protocol fees, right? So they do have fees, of course. They have this withdrawal fee for people who provide liquidity to the earners. So these first people, right? These guys here who are, providing to these pools. If they want to withdraw, there is a withdrawal fee currently, but they do talk about the fact in here that they're going to remove this in the future. So this fee, they have these 2 liquidation fees. So the 2% goes to the protocol and 5% goes to the person who does the liquidation. And then they also have these spread fees. So the APY between the borrow rate. So maybe this borrow rate was like 5.59, and then at that time, then this supply rate was maybe 5.0 or something. So that spread that's going to be there is going to be a fee to the protocol. Now, what does the protocol do with the fees? That's the interesting part. They put it in this reserve fund. So this is clever too. So they take the fees and they build LPs with the fees, and they put it into this reserve fund. And then, if there's some sort of liquidation issues, if there's the liquidation happens and it's a loss, or somebody needs to be repaid some money, then it comes from this reserve fund. So that's pretty much a cool thing, in my opinion, this reserve fund thing. So what am I trying to get at? Now, this is the strategy that in my mind came to mind, and I'm pretty sure it will work. I haven't tested it, so maybe somebody can test this and decide whether or not they want see if it works or not. So what I would suggest someone could do is they could take this USDC, right? They could open this up. They could supply maybe $10,000 worth of USDC, get 50,000, or maybe more because of gas, maybe 100,000 if you're a little more degen, right? So 100,000, you get 400,000, you get $500,000. Then you would have this thing open up, right? You would go to credit accounts, right? And then you go to connect, and then it would ask you for the wallet connect. So then we would come to Yearn, for example. And let's say there are some options right now. Let's say you could just simply go straight with the USDC Vault, right? And the USDC Vault currently has about 5%. So as long as this 5% is beating the borrow rate that you have here, which it isn't, but remember, you're only paying this on 40,000 or 400,000, depending on how much you're only paying that percentage on this. So you have an extra 100,000 or extra your capital, right? The initial capital in there. So it can be even, and you would still be net positive, right? So you could then just take that USDC and stick it in the vault. Now it works with Wallet Connect. So if you connect Wallet, right? Wallet Connect. And then this will pop up when you press Wallet Connect. You would copy this to the clipboard, and then you would come back here and you would paste it in here and connect. And then you could then use Yearn Finance via this smart contract credit account, right? So these things are kind of isolated, and it's to protect the protocol, the GearBox protocol itself. Like the money stays inside there. They can control, they can whitelist which protocols can be used. They can whitelist which tokens can be used in order to protect the GearBox. There's a whole bunch of literature in the docs about how this is protected. So I do suggest you to come and read the docs in full, and then you will get a better understanding what I'm talking about. So you could do that. You could come to Yearn, right? And you could, just simply supply it straight to that USDC vault, right? So USDC. And you could get that 5% right as well, right? However, there are some other opportunities that you could take advantage of, like so Curve Iron Bank. So if you wanted to supply to Curve Iron Bank instead, then you could do that, and it would be giving you 15% on top of your, on the borrow, which is, I don't know what the borrow rate would be at this time. You would have to, watch and check, right? But you could get 15% on leveraged up. So you could leverage up your Curve Iron Bank deposit by quite a bit. Okay, and it seems pretty safe to me. There is quite a bit of audits done. If you go to the docs here, and you go down to audits and bug bounty, they do have consensus, chain security, microbytes, PEC shield, all these audits already done. They do have a bug bounty. They do have several bug bounties actually, and rewards and so forth. So they seem to be pretty legit in that sense. And I think that's pretty much it. And so you could also just supply it straight if you wanted, if you're worried about slippage. Like if you wanted to deposit into here, right, it's asking you for these Curve IB tokens, right? But you can zap in with just straight from the USDC, right? You could just put if you had USDC in the wallet, right? Which I don't happen to have right now. It would just be here. You could just zap in, right? You could zap into this vault. You might get some slippage, but that would be something you would have to calculate and make sure. Or you could just come to your Curve Finance, make sure all your wallets are disconnected, connect, and then show more and go to wallet connect and then deposit it, again, copy this, take this back to here, deposit it here, paste it here, connect, and then you could use Curve Finance as if you were from that wallet, right? And you're always going to get the MetaMask pop-ups that you need to pay gas, you need to interact with it, but it's going to go through your MetaMask into that credit account, and then that credit account will command this what to do. So you could go here instead, and you could go to Curve Iron Bank, right? And you could then again connect your wallet and go to deposit and deposit your token here, and then take it to Yearn Finance and deposit it inside there. So I guess that pretty much covers it. This is just a quick idea of something that you could do. And this is what I kind of think is interesting, what I'm considering doing, but maybe I won't do it, or maybe I will do it. I don't know. Okay. There is a governance token. There is the last thing I should probably talk about. There is this governance token. Where is it? Gear token here. And it does talk a little bit about, the distribution of this governance token. If you want to invest in this, that would, that's up to you. You can come through here, read all this and so forth. But the only thing that it's currently doing is giving governance abilities to the DAO. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.